Hi, I'm Torte de Lini with the release of patch 7.37c and the coming of the International in Copenhagen. I think it's high time we talk about, again, the best heroes to play with this patch. With the nerfs to aura items like Greaves and Pipe and reduction of some oppressive core heroes like Ember Spirit and Lina, I'm hoping the meta is opening itself up more for unique picks, though I guess we'll see. So with that said, let's check in on which heroes are standing strong this patch, again, according to my expertise and from data at Dota2ProTracker.com, as well as my in-game guides are updated for 7.37c patch. Who wins in a fight? The gravitational pull of a cosmic black hole sucking up everything in its path with the force of 1,000 suns, or a magic box from the circus? Apparently the box. If you haven't tried Ringmaster yet, I recommend them right now as he is one of the best heroes in Dota 2 and has probably one of the strongest ultimates in the game despite nerfs in 7.37c. The biggest reason this hero is so strong is because his abilities feel both safe and are relatively easy to use, but also his abilities counter and work in combination with a lot of popular heroes in today's meta. For example, Ringmaster's Escape Act is a fantastic save to your allies against heroes like Slark, Ursa, or Troll, heroes that essentially want to lock down and kill your allies. The fact that Escape Act is instantaneous and people can move around with the box makes it so incredibly powerful for all sorts of situations. The ability to disengage an ally from an opponent this hard hasn't been seen in Dota 2 for a long time, and right now it's just hard to deal with for a lot of lineups. Secondly, his ultimate Wheel of Wonder just has really no downside. Either it taunts people and explodes, dealing huge damage, or no one looks at it and it deals recurring damage that slows in a massive AoE for 6 seconds. This, on top of its range, means that the safety to throw this out on a 70-second cooldown makes his ultimate immensely persuasive in fights. Wheel of Wonder just works well as a follow-up to a lot of heroes like Sand King, Storm, Mars, and Axe. Heroes that have their own setup to which Ringmaster can follow through with even more disables. Omni got some nerfs in 7.37c, revolving around his early game, where Hammer of Purity and Repel both got knocked a bit down, but honestly that was only half of his value, where his mid game, especially with Greaves, despite nerfs, is also still really strong. People think his Ag Shard upgrade is where it's at, but it's actually the Solar Crest, giving his aggressive core allies a ton of armor, barrier, movement, and attack speed for 8 whole seconds, while paired with a Repel for extra regen and strength, thus health and damage for strength and universal attribute heroes on top of a debuff resistance. So really, Omni is giving his allies an all-in-one package of sustain very early on. Instead of waiting on a Pipe of Insight, the Blacking Bar, or additional items, a lot of these core heroes are just able to fight right from the get-go. Heroes like Lina or Windranger love what Omni is bringing to the table early game. Survivability to nullify any harassment from offlaners while offering a free aura slow from his innate ability, Degen Aura, making initiating with him very easy for these ranged safe lane carries to follow through. Since his change in 7.37, the hero has had his whole identity flipped around in 3 concrete ways. Number 1, his new Ag Shard gives double purification with a 3-second delay at 65% effectiveness on the second one is honestly such a godsend of an item. 2, Repel now giving 60% magic resistance instead of needing the Ag Shard for it. And most importantly, 3, Guardian Angel is now working in an AoE rather than for yourself and an ally. So especially in this meta where everyone's kind of clumped up, it has a net benefit. So you effectively have a hero who can do it all. Keep your carry sustained in the lane, remove or outright block debuffs like stuns and silences and slows with Repel. You can also protect your ally with it from big magic burst and regenerate that back. A large duration of vulnerability for you and your team. It's kind of funny that the nerfs to Sand King in 7.37c kind of missed the point with the hero. While I understand lowering his strength by 1 makes him slightly more susceptible in the lane, and maybe the Caustic Finale nerf slows his farm a tiny bit, but he's still really strong. He works in basically 2 really obvious modes. Number 1 is farm mode. This is where you just squat in your stacked ancient camps and farm like a madman. I'm talking like Ming era level farming because everything you want is pricey as hell. You're talking items like Blink Dagger, Bloodstone, Pipe, Shivas, Yules, Ag Scepter. Your second mode is basically brainless slay mode. Channel your ultimate, jump in, pop a Yules and Bloodstone if you need it, and watch everyone perish. The hero just has a lot of presence with his Dust Devil Facet and Bloodstone. His damage scales so hard with his level 20 talents, and his laning phase is pretty unfazed with just a Bracer and Stinger making last hitting a breeze. So Sand King just has to get through his laning stage to then F off into the jungle and come back with biceps the size of the Taj Mahal. With the way teams are playing pretty clumped up, Sand King just owns them all in one swift combo. Hey, by the way, please consider liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing my videos to trick the algorithm that I'm actually more popular than I really am. Basically, the algorithm is like this T-Rex that only detects movement. If you really want to go the extra mile, give me your family's health history, your maiden name, and PC hardware, just in case that YouTube algorithm wants to legitimize your activity as real and not AI. What's really crazy about Windranger is that her Whirlwind Facet is actually the more popular choice these days for two key reasons. One, players are using her ultimate ability now to farm major camps. Two, the Whirlwind Facet gives a bit more liberty in how you engage against deathballs. While the Focus Fire Facet means you can go hard on a single target, the Whirlwind Facet gives you a bit more liberty to just be in and around the fight and contribute a lot of damage. Despite nerfs to her mid game with regards to her level 15 and 20 talent, as well as Glipnir nerfed, making her way less able to survive in the mid game and doing a bit less damage from the casting of Glipnir, her early game doesn't really change much, making her just really unfazed during the laning stage. She can literally just squat in her lane, have the easiest time last hitting, and really see no issue where even when she could be ganked, she just runs away. You really have to squish her like a bug with a nice mid lane gank from say a Puck or Storm Spirit or Ember Spirit, because you want to delay her Glipnir timing as much as possible, since that's all she needs to start going on a killing spree. I know I should be talking about what makes her so strong, but I just spent the last 8 seconds telling you how to shut her down because she is just so annoying. Windranger is still one of the best overall heroes in this patch in a core role. Windranger is just a really versatile pick. She could be played mid, safe, or support as always. She's just not as successful as she is Pos 1. Nowadays, people just grab a Null Talisman and a Bracer and just power shot creeps around the map for farm until they get their Glipnir and then go hard on enemies. After Blacking Bar, we usually see something like a Daedalus late game. Treant Protector is still incredibly strong because he pairs really nicely with a lot of current safe laners like Windranger, Lina, PA, Ursa, etc. Heroes that need both sustain in the lane thanks to Leech Seed, but also can take advantage of the slows and initiation Treant Protector provides with his massive damage and Nature's Grasp slow and Leech Seed to follow up. In 7.37, they nerfed the appeal in getting your Ag Shard second because instead of your attack dealing 200 damage directly while shrouded in the Nature's Guise passive, you now deal only 175% of your base attack. So most people just buy Solar Crest first instead, even with its nerfs. I would say people still buy Blink after Solar Crest, but you can also just go Vlad's or Greaves if you feel the match needs it. The real appeal of Treant Protector is Leech Seed. It's still really strong in teamfights with the Sapling Facet, where basically Leech Seed can be thrown on the ground to heal allies and hurt enemies. Now it doesn't slow in that area, but the range in which it affects heroes is fairly significant and gives Treant Protector more options during teamfights without having to risk himself getting near an enemy to be able to pull his Leech Seed to cast off. The Sapling Facet basically just relieves Treant Protector from some awkward engagement in exchange for a Leech Seed that doesn't slow but damages all enemies and heals allies within a range. Timbersaw is the reason we are seeing a lot of players having to pick up Pipe of Insight every game, but also he's the hero where you pick up Pipe of Insight just because he's such a strong carrier and really loves the magic protection to go along with his reactive armor, health regen, and armor growth. Timbersaw is also one of the reasons we see heroes like Morphling and Phantom Assassin are getting absolutely hammered by his massive nuke damage and uncaring atmosphere when laning against them. Morphling especially gets instantly nuked when caught by Timbersaw and Whirling Death. Lately, we've been seeing Timbersaw go Shredder Facet because it gives him setup for his abilities and kind of removes the emphasis on his old build where he would build Blink Dagger to then combo off an enemy. To help with some late game damage dealers like Lina, he does opt for his Ag Scepter, upgraded reactive armor, but make sure you buy Blacking Bar alongside it since that Ag Scepter upgrade ability can be dispelled. Besides Ember or Storm Spirit, Puck holds their own against a lot in this meta like Windranger or Timbersaw because it catches these heroes out, keeps them in place, and silences them at a really early timing thanks to Puck's Waning Rift and Dream Coil. The early game and even beyond has had its mana issues alleviated where disjointing attacks or spells gives back some of their mana through their innate ability Puckish. This also works with Yules on top of the fact that Yules has to give you more time to live between phase shifts or even waiting on Illusory Orb to telegraph your getaway. One more thing to note is that Puck has the 6th highest base intelligence and the 3rd highest intelligence gain, so their right click power is actually quite astounding and one of the reasons why they pick up Witchblade, eventually Plasma, as their ultimate ability lasts a relatively long time and your right click has decent power. Also, a lot of the heroes are buying Pipe these days, so the concern for Puck about getting nuked down due to their low health is pretty much alleviated. In terms of honorable mentions, there are 2 heroes that are making waves with their new style. One is Nature's Prophet. He's been buffed in 3 real ways. One, his Ironwood Treant only requires 1 tree to pull off, so it makes mid laning with him much easier because now there are significantly more trees to pull from. 2, Wrath of Nature is just insane farming because it hits all visible units. And 3, Curse of the Old Growth got buffed massively because it matches your innate abilities calculation of Spirit of the Forest. So now you have this asshole of a hero mid who can harass you with a massive Treant through his Treant facet, gank whenever he wants to then just TP back to mid. Don't really need a bottle because Nature's Prophet barely uses any mana, and your build is the same asshole items as everyone else, Lipnir and Black King Bar. Lastly, number 2, I've also really been into Shadow Fiend Pause 1 for a while now because I just like basically how chill it is. You pick up a Mask of Madness if you want, otherwise maybe a Dragonlance and a Pike, Manta Style, and or BKB, and Daedalus with the Lasting Presence facet. The hero plays like a traditional carry where you just don't want to die, so you get bonus max damage from your facet and innate ability. Necromastery. So your playstyle is pretty much just avoiding death and seeking kills without any risk. Basically how you're supposed to play, but for some reason we can't. Cool, okay, that's pretty much it for me. Be sure to let me know in the comments what heroes have been working for you, and I'll see you all at the next video.